this one's from OP Boone. He's had some really good suggestions. Let's see what he has in this one. In regards to recent discussion about stepping back from gaming content and expanding to more podcast-style content, expanding more into gaming news is a better move for you than politics. There's a significant overlap in audience interest between gaming playthroughs and gaming news, making it likely that your existing viewers would be interested in the content. With your team of editors, you could create 10 to 15-minute videos focusing on one major news story per video, separate from the podcast. This makes insights on gaming events more accessible to a wider audience rather than being buried with lengthy podcasts. Your DSP throwback editors could shift their focus to this project after completing the Red Dead and Final Fantasy XIII remaster projects. Considering the success of your retro reacts compared to the remaster projects, their efforts would be more beneficial in highlighting DSP news clips, which have the potential to garner thousands of views, rather than remastering decade-old footage that receives only a few hundred views. For example, you can highlight the recent Xbox announcements discussed in the Level 1 podcast, episode 254, perhaps incorporating snippets from previous episodes, where speculation about the announcement was rampant on social media. This additional content would find a natural home here on DSP Gaming, though it's possible those videos might get buried under the high volume of daily Let's Plays. You consider establishing DSP News as its own separate channel. Alongside DSP Reacts and DSP Throwback, it's worth discussing this with your viewers of the podcast to see what's best if you end up going this route. As I mentioned in an earlier suggestion, if the gaming news segment gains traction, then you can consider branching out to cover related topics like movies and TV shows in separate news videos, broadening your content appeal even further. I previously suggested using YouTube's live stream clipping feature for DSP news segments. Now with your team of editors, the idea seems more viable than ever. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Because here's the thing, like, technically, the news that I cover, all right, is the news that I'm interested in. Don't get me wrong, there's usually almost always gaming news going on. The problem is that a lot of it is just unrelated to anything that I have an interest in doing. You know, if there's a bunch of stuff that's PC-centric, I probably don't care about it. If there's a bunch of stuff that's covering drama topics that I'm not involved in, like this whole Sweet Baby Inc. thing, I think is the dumbest fucking thing possible. I think it's people on both sides being stupid. And it's like, do I really want to even cover that as news? Because I really don't feel like it is. I just think it's stupid political shit, honestly. But, you know, I don't know. Like, I always tend to, like, hone in on the topics that I like, right? The thing is, what I want you guys to understand is, when I say I have editors working on stuff for me, that's very much true. But when I say that, these are not, how can I say? It's not like I have a crack team of full-time employed people who are editing content. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I have very much is a grassroots group of people who like me and like the content that I make, and they want to help. So they make some thumbnails, right? Or in the case of the DSP Throwback channel, that's an idea that has been kicked around for a couple of years, and the offer was already made to me for a couple of years. Hey, if you ever would want to do something with a channel like that, we'd be willing to work on this for you, to edit the videos together, to upscale them, to make those lost playthroughs available for posterity purposes. And so I kind of said, not yet, not yet, not yet. And then I decided this year would be the year. Let's start it off fresh in January. Let's get a new project going and stuff. And then, of course, thanks to your feedback, I had the idea for Retro React, and that's working well on the channel. So now we have that good variety of content on that channel. But what you have to understand, it's not like these people are essentially doing it for the love of doing it. Like, they love this work. For me to say, so I like the fact that you helped me out so much over here. Thanks so much. But by the way, just stop doing that. Now I want you to redirect your efforts to do something completely and utterly different. I feel like they'd be a little bit ungrateful, no? Like, the reason that the people are doing it is because they like it. You know? I like making thumbnails. I like doing this editing work. The editing work is appealing to me. It's fun. I'm gaining experience learning how to do it. You know, I'm getting better at it. I'm learning about all these things. Like, for example, if you actually look at the videos on DSP Throwback, just the fact that the videos have gone through several levels of editing. Now, you know, first it was just put the videos together. Then it was, oh, now we're going to upscale them. Oh, now we're going to do audio cleansing, you know, and it keeps improving. Like, the video quality actually keeps improving, getting better over time. Not that many people are noticing, because the videos get, what, 100 views each? Over time, I'm sure that's going to grow. But, you know, for the initial uploads, they're not getting that much. But this is a thing. It's like, oh, you know, it's a project that people are working on. They're enjoying doing it. It's like a hobby. It's not something that you're expecting to sink endless hours into and take ultra seriously. It's something that you're getting experience out of it while you're also helping me out, which is nice, right? I feel like I said, if you're going to ask someone, hey, what I'd like you to do is every day on the podcast, just sit on that podcast that was a 2-hour podcast and sift through and edit out 15-minute clips and topics and title them and make them separate videos and do this and do that. That's a job, right? Like, that's a job. That's literally a job. And when you say people do it, you're right. They do it because they're giant YouTubers. You know, Asmon Gold probably has people he pays to do that. I'm sure Moist Critical has people he pays to do that because they're huge. If I was huge, I would also have employees to do that. In fact, back in the day when I was at the height of my popularity, I shit you not, that was my plan. I was actually going to hire like 3 people, and they were going to handle the day-to-day bullshit that I hated doing, like uploading, babysitting videos, putting them into playlists, making thumbnails. I was actually going to employ people. When I made tons of money back in the day, that was my idea. And then the priority for me became to move first because I didn't want to be stuck in Connecticut forever. Because imagine if I employed 3 people in Connecticut to do this, but I want to move. And then I eventually decide to move, and now 3 people are out of a job because they can't do it from across the country, right? So my idea was to move first and then basically expand upon that. If I was staying at the level of popularity I was at, hire editors, hire people to do that. And then what happened was I moved, and immediately the internet turned against me. Like, as soon as I came out here, it was like day 1 that I moved to Washington, was when all those negativity feelings came towards me. Everyone just turned me into a joke. Everyone just kind of just crapped on me. Within a year, my channel had been hit with so many copyright strikes that's when my channel law had to be removed from the YouTube algorithm and shit like that. And we're not going to sit here and talk about that endlessly, but that's just what happened. And it was like, well, that's it. That's the income is gone. The income that I was once making when I was at my big YouTube popularity was gone. And the possibility of me hiring people as employees disappeared because I was up to my eyeballs in debt from the move. My income was halved. It's like, well, now I'm screwed. All those ideas are gone, you know? So I understand where OP Boone's coming from. I totally feel like, yeah, that could have happened, right? Like, this is something that definitely I could have had editors who I employ as full-time employees, and they come in and they do this work for me every day. And it definitely would have been awesome to do that because that's what the top people are doing. We know that, right? The problem is that's not reality for me. The reality is I'm a one-man crew who works all day long, and I get exhausted with the amount of work I'm already putting in. I can't do that extra work. Do I have people who are volunteers who have stepped up and said, yes, we'd like to make content for you and help you with this stuff? Yes. But they're basically doing the stuff that they're interested in doing. For me to now say, oh, by the way, that throwback channel thing didn't work, so fuck all that work. Just throw that away. Instead, let's edit some 15-minute clips out of my podcast every day and hope that that takes off. Like, it's kind of the same thing. Didn't you notice? For like a year, okay, we did YouTube Shorts. Did you notice that? It was from late 2022 all the way through about late 2023. Why did I do YouTube Shorts? Because people asked for them. I said, oh, why don't you do Shorts? Shorts are so popular, and they really help channels, and they boost them and all of that. And there were a lot of Shorts. You know, we did them for all the fall games of 2022, my Oblivion playthrough in 2023. We tried to highlight epic moments of each of the big games that I was playing and stuff like that. You want to know what impact it had on the channel? 0. Because number one, none of those views end up being monetized, even though they claim they are. No exaggeration. If you get like 100,000 views on a short, you get like a penny. So out of all the shorts I put together, I probably made 25 cents. Okay? Now, I didn't make all those shorts. I made a few of them, but most of those were made by fans who wanted to help the channel. And that was a lot of work and effort that went into making those shorts. And they didn't do shit. You know, they got a few thousand views each. No one really watched. That's the thing with YouTube Shorts that people don't understand. Just like TikTok. People who watch TikTok clips and people who watch YouTube Shorts don't say, oh, look, that's a good clip. Let me go check out the channel. They just sit there in the feed. Clip, 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 clip. It doesn't bring attention to your content. People just enjoy the one clip and then they move on. That's why they're so short. They're supposed to be quick, digestible clips. You're not seeking out extended engagement with that content. You just want the 20 seconds and you're on to the next variety clip. They don't serve a purpose to a YouTube channel. So all the work for the whole year that was put into shorts did nothing. Literally did absolutely nothing, right? So I understand the suggestion. Make the clips of the show, 15-minute segment that just talks about game news. And maybe that video would get traction. But do I expect that anyone is going to watch a 15-minute news clip and then immediately come to my channel of DSP Gaming to watch more content? No. You know what they're going to look for? The next news clip. That's it. So unless we have an ongoing series of news clips that people will watch in succession, it's never going to do anything. So maybe in this regard, this suggestion is better than the whole shorts thing. Because I do think the shorts was a waste of time. I think YouTube shorts are fucking terrible. And they're just trying to copy TikTok and they serve no purpose. And YouTube is so off base with them, they're idiotic. But, you know, the whole clipping thing, having a segment about a certain topic that's edited out of a podcast probably would work. But again, for that to work, you'd have to have someone who's dedicated to do it, you know. I would think more of like, you know, you have to have someone you're going to pay to do it. I can't pay anyone to do it. If I'm in a situation where if I have a slow streaming day, okay, and I don't make, you know, a good amount of revenue on a certain day, and now I'm behind, and if I have a few of those in a week, and now I'm worried, how am I going to pay bills? How exactly am I supposed to pay an employee to sit here and clip stuff out of my streams? You know, it's just not going to happen. And I think that's the thing. When you look at other YouTubers who are successful, correct, and you look at the situations they're in, none of them are the stature of me. These are not people who have 300 viewers on a stream, 300 viewers on a video. These are people who already are bringing in thousands and thousands and thousands of views and hours of engagement and interactions on any piece of content. They have the attention. Then that warrants them sinking in the money and the time to do the kind of projects that they work on. I'm not them. I feel like, again, that's what Aspen Gold does. Aspen fucking Gold is like 1,000 times bigger than me. The dude brings in like 30,000 viewers on a stream. I bring in 300. That's literally 1,000 less, isn't it? No, that's 100 less. Okay, he's 100 times bigger than me. He's not 1,000 times bigger. He's 100 times bigger than me. That's why he does that. You know, like, these comparisons are wild because people are comparing, you know, a grape to a watermelon. Really? Like, I'm the grape. You get that? I'm this little guy down here. I'm doing the best I can with what I've got. But, you know, you say, well, I don't understand why you don't do the same thing as this person who's insanely successful and huge and bigger than you. You just answered the question. Right? Anyway. All right. So, OP Boone, I appreciate the suggestion. I don't think, sadly, I don't think that would work. Only because, again, that's something that maybe if I could pay an employee to do it, it would work. I'm not going to have people stepping up to volunteer to do that kind of work because it's a lot of work. They have to watch every podcast in full. They have to figure out what the segments are, edit them out, make them separate videos, put them up, promote them. You know, it's a lot of work for someone who's basically a volunteer. You know, the volunteer work on the DSP Throwback channel is already a huge, tremendous undertaking. We still have a lot of content there we have to make visible. For example, the whole LA Noire playthrough, right? The online gameplay of Red Dead 1 that became Suicide Kings. The Undead Nightmare playthrough. And there's all these forgotten vlogs and playthroughs that are still all for posterity purposes. We want to get those on the channel. That's the whole idea of the project to begin with. The idea of DSP Throwback is not, oh, let's make profit. The idea is we want lost videos to hit the internet for posterity. Now, the cool thing is we found a way with Retro React to have content that's appealing to the audience and make some profit. But that's not the whole purpose of the channel. I'm not going to tell people who are working on that channel, just drop that channel now because it didn't catch on and go do other work. That's not the point. You see? Okay. I hope all that makes sense. Now we got to get to shout outs because now it's already 12:30. Guys, again, you understand when we do suggestion box, this is kind of why I'm apprehensive about doing it. Because you say the show's too long, but then every time we do suggestion box, it's fucking 12:30 already and I haven't even done a shout out yet. Do you see my point? Okay. Shout outs. Let's do them.